Namaste, Sat Sri Akal, and welcome Delhi. Is my mic on? Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me at the end? Okay, awesome. Um First of all, great session today by Mr. Malhotra and Dr. Batra. What I'm here to talk about is something which has not been spoken too much in the past about CTV, because when we talk about CTV, it was always considered to be the new kid in the block. There is a lot of nuances related to CTV, wherein what are the kind of data insights that we get from CTV. But when we talk about CTV in today's parlance, there is a lot more which has happened. CTV is no longer the future play. It is the story of today. And I'm going to start off with with an insight or with an observation. Imagine yourself getting up in the morning, you're getting ready to go to office, you have your screens in hand, you are multitasking, there are notifications firing. That is actually fractured attention. Now imagine yourself in the evening and you come back from office, you're done with your work, you put your feet up and you start your television and you're immersed. You start watching content. You're there, you're present. That is the kind of real attention that brands today are actually looking forward to. You know, when I was backstage and we were having a discussion with some of our client partners, and everybody was asking this question that how big is CTV? You know, a lot has been spoken about CTV today, but what are the actual numbers? So let's look at the numbers here. Almost by the end of 2026, 60 million TVs or 60 million households will be the actual CTV number, which is huge. And these are not multipliers, these are actual numbers. Even if you talk from an ADEC standpoint, which is the amount of revenue which CTV generates, it's almost 6,000 crores in 2025. These are actual numbers and not projected numbers. And by the end of 2026, we are slated to reach almost 8,000 crores. And especially for people sitting in this room, this is one data point which is absolutely relevant. When you talk about CTV spend, every 1 rupee in 5 rupee spends comes from the auto category, which means that the auto category contributes to almost 20% of the total ad spend which happens on CTV. And why is it? Because when you talk about a category which is high involvement, high emotion, the kind of attention and brand storytelling needs a screen which drives that kind of an attention in a particular household, which is your connected television. When you talk about CTV, the one OEM manufacturer which sits in the center of it all is Samsung. Samsung has been the #1 OEM manufacturer 20 years in a row. And we are also global innovators. In fact, we've just launched the 130-inch new micro RGB TV powered by our latest Vision AI technology. And not even the TV size, we are looking at a segment which is the ultra premium or the premium segment, which is growing multifold, wherein we see 2x growth when it comes to the screen sizes, which are almost 85 inches and upwards. So when we talk about television today, the television is no longer an idiot box which you only use to consume content. It has now actually become a hub of intelligent content viewing. In fact, when you look at Samsung, we are investing heavily in AI technology. And I'll talk a little bit about what our TV lineup is. In fact, all the TVs today which gets manufactured at Samsung comes inbuilt with Vision AI. What Vision AI does is that today you will not need the remote to interact with your television. In fact, this does not only change the way you start viewing content, but for advertisers, it completely changes the ball game on how a user now interacts with your ad. Vision AI is so powerful that when you switch on your TV and you're watching an X kind of content, it understands the ambient lighting in the room and it will adjust the pixels and the light which comes out of the pixels to adjust to the ambient lighting. There is also a feature which is called as Sound Pro or Adaptive Sound Pro, which understands that what is the kind of content that you're watching, what is the genre of content that you're watching, whether it is music, whether it is recorded in 5.1 channel, whether it is 11.1 channel, it will auto adapt to the kind of music to give you the best output and a viewing experience on your television. In fact, we've also created an online companion where you not only ask the TV to suggest content to you, but even if you see a show, which is like, say, a cookery show, and you want to understand what is the recipe for that particular cook, the TV will now be able to tell you the exact cook, and there is no third-party integration or no third-party technology which is related to this or required for this. All of this comes on the screen of your television. And just a note, I'm not selling TVs. I'm just giving you an insight on what Samsung is looking at. So here's a small snapshot of how Vision AI has transformed the way and become an AI companion for all your entertainment needs.
Since the moment we turned it on for the first time, it's been there with our favorite shows. But what if television could be more than just what's playing on screen? Well, now, with Samsung Vision AI, it's about something bigger. You.
Me?
Yeah, you. Because your every day is something to celebrate.
Dad.
I'm not sure. Is it one or two?
You put way too many in.
And nothing should come between you and the moment.
Total of 1 cup of all-purpose flour.
And because you... Hold on. Did you just turn on the TV by barking? And because your old memories should always feel new.
Mom, it was so good.
And because there's truly only one of you. And you. Yeah, and you. You see, for the first time, the most important thing about television isn't playing on television. It's who's watching.
Isn't that amazing? So I'm not selling TVs, but if anybody is interested, I can definitely help you out with a discount. All right, coming back, when we talk about Samsung household, let us understand why our households are uniquely valuable. If you look at the ownership profile, or you look at what are the audiences that we are catering to, as per GWI, all our audiences are explorers who travel abroad at least once in a year. These are e-commerce enthusiasts who keep on looking at what are the deals and want to purchase stuff online. Our female and our Gen Z audiences are actually interested in content about investment or finance. And these are aspiring homeowners who already have a home or are looking to purchase a home and are also preferred to buy premium products online. So this is a very highly NCCS A1, A2, A3 sort of a category. If you dive a little bit deeper, since the word in the room today is auto, almost 73% of our users own at least one vehicle in their household. 28% are planning to purchase a vehicle in the next 3 to 6 months, and 14% are actively posting or seeking information about vehicles via online sources. So you have the intent, you have the audience. Now let us look a little bit into the platform which gives you the merger of both of these. When you talk about Samsung Ads, we are a 5-year-old company, and today we are one of the largest ad OEM manufacturers in the country, where we have almost 15 million active TV devices. And that means that you can actually reach out to almost 67 million captive CTV users. And we also have the largest single-day CTV reach, which is about 4.5 million. So as technology changes, audience behaviors also keep on changing. The relationship between a viewer and a TV screen is no longer passive. It has actually become much more intelligent, much more immersive, much more engaging, wherein today, a CTV platform will actually give advertisers the ability to immerse a particular user and take them through the journey of experiencing the brand storytelling as they are watching content without being extremely intrusive. Just to talk about a little bit of numbers when it comes to the CTV ecosystem, especially for us at Samsung, almost 7.6 billion hours are spent on streaming on Samsung TVs in a year. These are not total time spent, these are actually time spent only on streaming apps. And one of the most asked questions to us from the market was that we understand that there is streaming, but what is the session time that you see across your TVs? So the session time per session is almost about 70 minutes on streaming. So when a user switches on the television, he almost watches for about 70 minutes of streaming content. And when it comes to linear versus streaming, almost 2.5x more attention than on linear. If you ask me why, the reason being that when it comes to streaming, the user has already decided and committed to what is the kind of content that he wants to watch. So it's a very leaned-in experience. And we also did a study with AC Nielsen and Kantar, wherein we figured that almost 85 to 90% of the users today are okay to watch complete 30-seconder ads if the ads are relevant to them, if the brand messaging resonates with them, and it is served to them in an environment which is not highly intrusive. So when we talk about the car buying journey, the car buying journey does not really start at the dealership today. In fact, the car buying journey starts at one of the screens that you have. A user will usually, or a prospective buyer will usually keep on researching about the car he wants to buy. He will research about the brand. He will do a lot of comparisons. So in this particular journey, every screen that you have matters. And one of the largest screens in your home is the CTV screen, which can be used as a billboard within the household. So if you see on the screen here, we have just mapped a couple of pointers where you can actually be present to create that top-of-the-mind recall. So one, as soon as a user switches on the television, that's the first level of engagement. Even before he goes on to any AVOD or SVOD platform, you can target the user there, build recognition, and be the first brand they see so that they can resonate with the brand. Second, you can drive awareness. There are multiple immersive ad formats today wherein you can take the user from one screen to the other screen. You can play a game on the home screen. You can do a lot of brand storytelling with sequential marketing. So you create that kind of awareness on the large screen in your household. Then you can also use CTAs to actually engage these audiences and then in the end move them towards intent or action, where you actually ask the user or ask the consumer to come to your showroom and have a test drive, etc. So if you look at this entire journey and if you understand how to capture these audiences, what are the kind of options do you have, especially for the buyers, planners, and the marketing people who want to understand how does a CTV playbook look like. So consider this as a CTV playbook. So in order to drive awareness, so if you break it down into three parts, which is awareness, consideration, and validating success, you can use the first screen or the in-stream on fast to drive that kind of a brand building and drive awareness. You can then use an always-on SOV sort of a buy, wherein you give an always-on presence across the year, do not need to over-index on any particular day or time, but during certain tentpole moments like cricket, which gets almost 25 to 30% of increased viewership across CTVs today, you can over-index and buy a higher SOV in that particular duration. Then there is also the ability to move the user from one app or from one landing page to another within the TV ecosystem. And this is only possible at Samsung because we own the hardware, the software, and the ad tech. So if you want to drive the user from the home screen of the television into a website which is created for the television where he can experience the entire car, that is possible through Samsung. Also, QR codes are now also available, so anybody wants to scan a particular QR code and take it to another screen or an app, that is also something which is possible. And lastly, you can actually validate your success using incremental report or any advanced tools which will exactly tell you and give you deterministic results of where that money that you have spent on CTV, what is the outcome of that particular money. Measurement has always been a very touchy topic among the entire group, us as advertisers and publishers, but CTV is slowly and steadily getting into a point where measurement becomes really important, and we have just launched something which is called as Smart Outcomes, which drives the entire consideration funnel right from the first impression served to the end result, which is uplift in your brand KPIs. Another most interesting topic is targeting. What is the kind of targeting now which is available on CTV? When it comes to an OEM, the benefit that you get is that targeting happens on the device level and on the ACR front. And I'll give you the bifurcation. When it comes to device level, as soon as you pick up or you unbox your TV device, connect it or install it at your home and connect it to the internet, you exactly get to know what is the location of the TV. And since this is a 1:many device and it's a large 50-inch or a 60-inch TV, you definitely cannot carry it along with you. So that gives you the exact location. Second is you can also target TVs basis their type. So whether it is QLED, micro QLED, RGB, 40 inches, 55 inches, so all these are targeting parameters which are available. Then you also get to know what is the ISP that the TV is connected to, whether it is Jio, ACT, Vodafone, Hotspot, etc. Using ACR, and for the uninitiated, I'll just take about 10 seconds to explain what ACR is. ACR stands for Automatic Content Recognition. Every time you switch on your television, the TV understands what is playing on the screen, connects it, converts it into metadata, passes against a DMP, and then gives you certain cohorts. That is the brain behind the ads ecosystem on Samsung. And using ACR, you can today target audiences who are sitting behind the paywall, which is people who consume or have paid for content on Lionsgate, Apple TV, Netflix, etc. You can today also target people based on the genre of content they are consuming, whether it is rom-com content, whether it is sports content, whether it is Kapil Sharma show or Kaun Banega Crorepati. So when it comes to an OEM, these are the entire gambit of targeting which are available to you. If you see on the screen today, these are some of the most known brands in India, and this is not a pitch, this is just a proof point that all of these brands have partnered with Samsung Ads and and these are not just experimental line items, this is actually a commitment to the kind of media mix through CTV which will help them drive smart outcomes for their brands. So when you partner with Samsung, what is it that you get? So let us take an example. So this is an example of Skoda. I'm just going to be a little more faster because of the time constraint. But we can definitely have some Q&As after outside once the session is over. So when Skoda launched their new ad film which talks about fans and not owners, the objective was very clear. They wanted to capitalize on the cricket audiences, and the strategy was absolutely surgical, where using ACR, we targeted certain cohort of audiences. One of the people who are already exposed to the ad on television. Second is certain set of audiences, whether it is a 50-incher or a 60-incher, that actually drove double-digit results across brand KPIs for Skoda. When it comes to campaign metrics, we were able to reach almost 3.8 million single-day devices and serve about 27 million odd impressions. Again, another example of Mercedes, where we could reach almost about 3.4 million, again a cricket-based SOV buy, wherein they wanted to capitalize on the cricket season, where you get almost 25 to 30% of surge. So to sum it up, when it comes to Samsung and when it comes to an OEM, you get the actual power of OEM backed by data. Everything is deterministic, not probabilistic. So if you tell me you only want to target a user who has an 85-inch sitting in Bombay, only watching, say, Kapil Sharma or rom-com content, that is something which is possible. You actually reach the audiences that you actually want to reach. You have deterministic results and then backed by guaranteed and value results. With that, I just want to leave you with one thought, that the next time you watch or see TV, don't just watch it, you see TV. Thank you.